Hello, thanks for joining this new video. I'll share what I liked and disliked about the Moto G35. 5G after testing it if you're considering buying it. So, as always, don't buy the Moto G35 without watching this video. Consider the initial launch price, which was 3,299 pesos. This device competes in a lower-end segment, and yes, it has been on the market for quite some time since its launch, so it is likely much cheaper now, making it even more appealing. However, to maintain a neutral analysis, we always refer back to the original launch price. Let me start by telling you what I like the most. It's the screen. Even though it isn't an OLED, it does support HDR content, which is a big plus. In this price range, it's uncommon to find a screen with HDR, so I think it stands out. Additionally, it offers 120 Hz, which theoretically should provide excellent fluidity. However, the reality is that since it's not OLED, it feels more like around 90 Hz compared to OLED screens. But hey, it's definitely cool. It even brings an option to enhance SDR videos, allowing you to see them much closer to HDR quality. It's quite interesting. The design, in my opinion, seems to be the standout feature. Seeing synthetic leather on a device at this price point is perceived as something much more premium than it actually should be. Additionally, Motorola offers some quite vibrant color options. The sound experience is very good, mainly because it integrates Dolby Atmos technology. However, it's not just about the name alone. I noticed, for example, that it indeed offers access to a 10-band equalizer, and it also integrates stereo sound. Now hey, for the price, that's actually pretty good. The audio experience is impressive. But speaking of audio, it's also going to stand out significantly because it incorporates support for high-resolution codecs like LHDC, aptX, and LDAC. Within this price range, these features are not something you usually find. Additionally, take note that it will also provide us with access to the ultra-wide camera, which is another feature that at this price point is not commonly available. Surely in the price you can see devices that have like 4 circles here, but it's only one camera. Motorola is much more honest about that and I like it a lot. It incorporates 2 cameras that really are cameras and they're useful cameras. Main and ultra. Very nice, Motorola. Applause. Well, it even has a pro mode for the camera, which for the price range is unusual. Motorola's night vision mode works quite well. I recommend using it because at night it does make a difference and the photos come out well for its price. But what does not go according to its price is that this device offers the ability to record videos in 4K, simply brutal for this category. In fact, the backlit recording has performed quite well with the main camera in 4K. You will also notice that the focus reacts fast and is agile, and it allows us to be relatively close. It's not yet a macro camera specifically, but it does its job very well. In fact, it also offers a slow motion mode that works well. Always evaluating it based on its price, but it works very well. In addition, we will find 5G. It is something that many other devices sacrifice in this low price segment to try to make their phone more economical, but here Motorola does not sacrifice it. It's great to have faster download speeds with mobile data. More impressive is eSIM support. It lets you add data plans without a physical SIM. Buy from a virtual carrier, scan a QR code, and get mobile data. I particularly enjoy this feature for traveling, as it eliminates the hassle of purchasing a physical SIM card in a foreign language, which can be somewhat complicated. In this case, things become significantly easier. Additionally, it includes NFC, allowing you to add your cards and conveniently make payments. Just use your cell phone at compatible banking terminals, it's really good. Plus, it has a physical proximity sensor. Note this, as some high-end manufacturers cut costs and offer inconsistent virtual sensors. The physical sensor here is perfect. Up until now, everything has been going really positive. Now, let's discuss what I didn't like. As you may notice, the camera experience is somewhat slower than we would prefer. That's something we can still understand in such an inexpensive device. What they could and should improve is the one-handed mode. It only moves half of the screen down, but there's no way to reach other buttons. Also, if you're careful with the battery, the software lacks smart charging or a charging lock. It's a slow phone. In my tests, it averaged 7.3 seconds to open each of the 16 apps tested. 4 GB of RAM isn't enough for 2025. It has virtual RAM, but don't make it CAS. It's primarily for decoration. Therefore, it's a cell phone crafted to run only 2 or 3 applications at most, ensuring it remains relatively fluid in performance. However, if you attempt to open several more applications, you'll find that this cell phone struggles significantly in this area, making it quite costly in terms of performance. In this price range, they have to sacrifice something, and there are other phones that while they can offer you a higher performance, they will sacrifice other points where surely this phone finds its main strengths. So it depends a lot on the type of user you are. If you already bought it, let me know your opinion in the comments. For the moment, we have reached the end of this video. If you liked it, you know you can indicate it, and we'll see you next time.